All right, so the Wolves are a mess, train wreck. Let's get to a team that is active, that's aggressive, a local team that is really working hard. The Twins. I mean, Jay Happ, man, crafty, I believe, 38-year-old southpaw, 1 year, Dukes. Talk to us about the fact that the Twins have clearly yesterday put their foot down and said, we are adding a fourth or fifth starter, and there's nothing the rest of baseball can do about it.
Well, before I offer my analysis, I will ask the two of you. Would you rather have Jay Happ or Jose Quintana? So Quintana goes to the Angels, same contract, 1 year, $8 million. Now, I don't think there's a sizable difference between Quintana and Happ. I'll let you guys think about it for a second. But my own opinion is I would rather have Quintana for 2021. Quintana's camp tried to engage the Twins. It was more them calling the Twins. And the Twins were not being receptive. The Twins did not have interest in Quintana. But me personally, I would rather have Quintana than Happ.
You know, Quintana, I think the reason I would rather have Quintana is he's younger, for one, by almost a decade. So that that factors in. And I just remember him with the White Sox at his best for like 4 or 5 years. Was one of the sneakiest, most durable, underrated starting pitchers in all of baseball. So I just feel like it's less likely that Jose Quintana, even though he's had some, it's not like he's been, Mr. Durability the last few years in terms like he got sent to the bullpen by the Cubs at one point, but I think he has a better chance of giving you like 32 good starts than Happ does if they play a full season. So, I mean, listen, I actually don't have Judd kind of mocks the Happ signing. Like, is Happ going to put you over the top of the White Sox? No, but like you need to fill out your rotation, and he's a professional pitcher.
I mock the approach.
He's a good pitcher, but it doesn't mean like if you sign Happ and you lose Nelson Cruz and like this is where I have a problem. Well, you said it was $8 million for Happ, Dukes, 1 year, 8.
It's $8 million. I'm with you, Phil. He's your number 4 starter. It's fine. This can't be it though. They need to still do a lot more. I'm convinced that more is coming, but is it the right more? But just this one singular move right now, it doesn't overly bother me. It's fine. They swung and missed on some other starters, Charlie Morton and Corey Kluber, to name two. So, I mean, they tried to make some offers, and those guys just didn't take those offers. So, as you go down your list, Happ is fine as a number 4, but they need to do more. But I'm just saying, me personally, because I found it interesting that Quintana agreed to the same deal. So it's an easy comparison. Quintana Happ. I'm just saying, me personally, I'd rather have Quintana.
I just think like at some point, I always wonder when you get these $8 million here for a number 4 starter, like if any of this money prevents you from bringing Nelson Cruz back, then it's not worth it. I would rather have Nelson. I'm not saying it's neither or, but it might be. If Nelson Cruz signs somewhere else because another team made a better offer and you could have used that $8 million over a couple of years to boost Nelson's off, I'd rather have Nelson Cruz. He's more impactful the next couple of years.
Well, I mean, then you would have Dobnik as your number 4 and Smeltzer or somebody else as your number 5.
I'd rather do them all. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not spending a ton here. I'm not. If I sign Happ and I sign Cruz, look, the thing about Happ that I think is a bit where I joke is this: the Twins don't need to keep signing guys, pitchers my age. Okay. Like, they just don't need to. Like, sign younger guys. That's fine. But, like, Rich Hill, God bless him. He's, like, was born a day after I was. Homer Bailey, right? But if you are the Twins and you are looking at what the White Sox are doing, and I get, Dukes, that we're in a pandemic, and I get that there have to be financial considerations made because of all of that. But I don't think it's too much to say, sign Cruz, sign Happ, like, 4 guys. I'm not asking you to go out and break the bank, but I am saying I don't understand how you can look at what the White Sox are doing and just sort of piecemeal things and say it's going to be fine. And if they let Cruz walk, I think they should take severe heat. I really do. He's been as productive as you could possibly be. Yes, he's old too, but he has done nothing that screams, it's time to go. He has done everything that screams, this is a glue guy, both on the field and off, and you should really, really work hard to keep him and sign him.
The way it's trending on Cruz is he's going to land elsewhere. Now, all it takes is one new call. Thad Levine is leading the charge on these negotiations. All it takes is one new call one new offer. So I realize it can change. I'm on record on a few podcasts saying I can see a scenario. Now, this is going back 7 to 14 days, but I said then that I can see a scenario where Nelly Cruz is back here. I know he has really enjoyed his time here. So I think all things considered, he'd like to be back, but he's not coming back on a team-friendly deal. If the Dodgers or the Padres make a better offer, he's heading to Southern California. Now, we're still awaiting clarity. Still, to this day, January 21st, we're still awaiting clarity whether the National League will have the DH this year. But if they do, those would be two teams to keep an eye on. But in the American League, if the DH is only in the American League, now the White Sox actually have kicked the tires. I think Toronto, we saw Toronto try to sign Michael Brantley. That fell through. Toronto might be interested in Nelly. So I actually think there's more of a market than other people in town think there is. Like, I know one Twins beat reporter opined that he doesn't really feel like, at least in the American League, that there are suitors, that it's the Twins or bust. I feel good suggesting that is incorrect, that there are some suitors, but I don't think firm offers have been made yet. So it could change, but I'm just telling you, let me just brace Twins fans for the possibility that at this point,
oh my God.
The way it's trending, Nelly Cruz is going to land elsewhere.
Yeah. All right, empty the bag, Dukes. Rapid fire scoops here. What do you got?
Well, just continuing the Twins theme, they were among the finalists on Kirby Yates. I don't have the particulars on what they were willing to pay him. Were they willing to go as high as $5 million, $5.5 million guaranteed, with another 3 to 4 in incentives? With some of those being, pretty reachable incentives as long as he stays healthy. I don't fully know if the Twins were willing to do that. My sense is Toronto outbid everybody, that Kirby took the money from Toronto, but the Twins were in it until the end on Kirby Yates. The Twins on Friday made Corey Kluber an offer, but his rehab guy works for the Yankees, right? So he takes the 1 year, $11 million. But my understanding is the Twins made him a very competitive offer. So they wanted Corey Kluber. They've talked parameters of a deal with Joakim Soria. They keep kicking the tires. They still have interest in Semien, Simmons. They've talked, or at least the name Ozuna's come up, and Duvall and some of these other bats in the event that Nelly Cruz goes elsewhere. Certainly the Twins need to have a contingency plan. I'm just saying this. More is coming. I don't know how much more is coming, but more is coming. There's a report from Japan, if you trust the Google translation, that the Twins are showing a bunch of interest in Masahiro Tanaka. Now, I can tell you, as of yesterday morning, I can tell you this with 100% certainty, the Twins have not made Tanaka an offer. Maybe they will eventually, but as of yesterday morning, the Twins have not made Tanaka an offer. I'd love to see Jake Odorizzi back. It's what we've talked about going back 6 weeks. Other teams are being more aggressive, but what the heck does that mean? Because Jake is still out there. So these other teams, Toronto and what have you, can be aggressive all they want. If he hasn't accepted their offer, he's still out there. But the Twins have not made Jake Odorizzi an offer as of 24 hours ago. But I'm just telling you, more is coming. I can't pinpoint exactly when, but at some point here in the coming weeks, the Twins will add more talent.
Yeah.
I hope they will.
They
need to.
Well, they know. God, they know. They have payroll limitations. They will not have the same payroll that they had heading into last year. Not the payroll for the condensed season, but the payroll, heading into spring training last year. It's not going to be the same. The payroll is going to be less this year, but they still have some flexibility to make moves. So I know a lot of Twins fans are pissed off right now, but there still are a lot of free agents out there. So I'm just telling you, more is coming.
That is Darren Doogie Wolfson. He's our friend from 5 Eyewitness News, and you can find his Scoop podcast every week on Apple, Spotify, and SKORNorth.com. Inside information about your favorite local sports teams. Doogie, good stuff, man. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Phil. I'm recording a new Scoop podcast later today. I caught up with Leslie Frazier one-on-one yesterday, so that will be on the podcast. I caught up with Tracy Clays the other day, the former Gophers coach. He still is pissed off in many ways about how everything shook out here when he lost his job early 2017. But he also said, hey, he's learned to live life without anger. So he played it both ways. But Tracy was fantastic. Tracy told me, by the way, with all the free time he now has because he's retired, at 52, although the right offer would bring him back. But Tracy's like, Doogie, call me anytime. So I might have Tracy as a regular come college football season just to analyze the Gophers and some other teams. He was great. So I'll have Tracy Clays and Leslie Frazier on the podcast I'll record later today.
Tracy and Doogs coming your way on SKOR North and 5 Eyewitness News. All right, Doogie, we'll see you next week, man.
All right, see you, boys.
Bye.
Reckless speculation.
I won't be up here freezing my ass off. I'll enjoy the winter.
Hey, you know what, Tracy? Hey, you know what, Tracy? You're pissed off about being fired here. I'm still pissed off about the Halloween meltdown that you orchestrated against Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay.
The clock's running. Let's snap the ball.
So this goes two ways, Tracy. Yeah. We can all be pissed off. Okay. And I've not learned to live with that loss because that was an awful loss.
I need to hear that episode where he's gone through like anger management or something. I don't harbor any anger, but damn it.
but I'd like to tell those Gophers something.
Okay, on the Twins real quick here. So 2 thoughts. It sounds like I'm more okay with the Hap signing than you are, but I want to put an asterisk next to my opinion.
Right.
Okay?
And just to be clear, I'm okay with the signing. I'm not okay with the so far offseason approach.
Correct. I'm with Judd here.
Yep. So I'm
not mad about J Hap.
Let me just like crystal clarify how I feel about this, and you guys tell me your thoughts. So the Twins definitely need starting pitching help. Like, you need 5 good starting pitchers. You're probably going to need 7 starting pitchers because that's how baseball works. And not all of them are going to be Kenta Maeda and Jose Barrios level good. You're not going to get 5 Max Scherzers. Like,
right.
Ideally, they'd be in the mix on Trevor Bauer. I don't know if they are. If they got Tanaka, Tanaka is not Bauer, but Tanaka is a playoff rotation caliber guy.
Or bring back Jake. I take that.
Is it? Yep. So there are still things to be done, and you're not going to have like 1 through 5 ace pitchers. So you're going to need guys like J Hap, who's just been a good professional pitcher for like 15 years. Because right now your rotation is Barrios, Maeda in some order, Michael Pineda, durability issues, and Randy Dobnak, who I don't want anywhere near the top 4 spots in my rotation. If he wants to battle for the 5th spot, that's okay. And so Hap comes in here and at least makes it so that you've got 4 professional established pitchers, a couple guys who have shown ace tendencies, and then you can figure out. So from that standpoint, great. Here's my problem. J Hap, Michael Pineda, who they added a few years ago, these guys don't move the needle necessarily in terms of you winning a playoff game for the first time in almost 2 decades, right? Those guys definitely help you on your quest to 90, and so that matters to the extent that they need to get back to the playoffs before they can win a playoff game. But where I am miffed is, and this goes back years, the Twins love placing smaller bets across multiple places. Like, they'd rather, it seems, with Terry Ryan, and even lately with Levine and Falvey, they did spend big on Donaldson, and they deserve credit for that. So it's not 100%. But a small bet on Robles and then a $8 million bet on J Hap, it's like, if those small bets prevent you from bringing one of the best hitters in baseball back, and I get that he's almost 40, but so is Hap, okay? Like, and so is Rich Hill.
Yeah.
So if those small bets prevent you from making a big, impactful bet on a guy that can help you hit a double in a key situation in a playoff game, that's where I have a problem. So to answer Doogie's question, well, would you rather have Cruz and then like Devin Smeltzer as your 5th starter? Actually, yes. Yes, because the difference between Nelson Cruz and like rookie Brent Rooker is a Grand Canyon, I think. And the difference between J Hap and like your best number 5 minor league starter that you would just rotate through is not as wide of a gap. Nelson Cruz can win you a playoff game. J Hap probably doesn't start a playoff game.
But J Hap, the signing of J Hap should have absolutely no impact in the conversation of what's going to be done big picture to improve your team. It's a depth move. I'm tired of the Twins, and this current regime seems to like this, and I get it as depth moves, but that's all these are. I'm tired of them going to the used car lot and coming back with a Rich Hill. Is that a Homer Bailey? God, that was great a few years back. Let's try and drive that car. And now J Hap, 14 years into his career at the age of 38, is the exact same thing. If our conversation today was, hey, you know what? They've made some moves. They brought back Cruz. That's all great. And J Hap's been signed. That's awesome. Depth signing. Go for it. Very, very cool. But this is the equivalent to me of the Vikings signing like a backup corner. Oh, you know what? I've heard of him. He was good back in the day, and perhaps he can add something in the nickel package occasionally, right? But when you look at what the White Sox have done, and you look at what the Twins aren't doing, and again, I will say this, aside from Phil, the Padres, the Mets, the Blue Jays, and White Sox, the majority of baseball is doing what the Twins are doing as well. The frustration is the amount of players who are out there, and we are gearing up for the majority of teams to find out when spring training is going to start. It's going to start at some point, and then the market is still going to be flooded with players who these teams are going to try to sign cheap. And it's frustrating to watch the Twins do this to me because, one, they've lost 18 consecutive playoff games, and two, they're a good team. Like, they should be pouncing more. I'm not saying they got to go spend crazy, but they should be. J-Hap right now is a foundation offseason signing for the 2021 Twins.
As of right now, yeah.
As of right now, that's a problem.
Yeah.
He's a depth signing. He's a backup.
Yeah. And
so that's my frustration. It's not J-Hap. It's the approach.
I'll add this too. What year are we going into with Falvey and Levine? Is this year 5, I think?
17 was their first year.
18, 19, 20. This is year 5. We're going to year 5 here of Falvey and Levine. Who, by the way, I think are great. I think those guys have done a great job building this thing back from 100 losses and building it into, like, you've got a farm system that you've got some top guys. They've developed Tyler Duffy into an elite reliever through the scouting practice. They've bolstered and brought the Twins into the next century in terms of player scouting and development. So they've done a lot of good things, and the Twins have been a playoff team and relevant, and those are all good things. But the biggest skill set that Falvey brought to the table coming from Cleveland was pitching development and being able to fill that pipeline with internal guys, and you'd have these guys coming through the system and becoming part of your major league rotation. We're going into year 5 of Falvey and Levine. And Jose Barrios, he was already a major league pitcher when they got here. Kenta Maeda, veteran signing. Michael Pineda, veteran signing. Actually, Maeda was a trade. J-Hap, Rich Hill, Homer Bailey, veteran signing. I want to know, like, where are the really good young arms developed from within that? And another benefit to those guys is they only cost like $550,000 a year to your payroll until they hit arbitration. Like, where are those guys? Are they all just like failing as starters and becoming relievers? I mean, Jorge Alcala, have they determined that he's a failed starter?
But they're drafting, and it seems like they lean towards drafting bats more.
Well, but they've been signing and drafting pitchers through the international. Like Yon Duran is a guy that. So Yon Duran is one of their 2 best pitching prospects. Jordan Balazovic is still in A-ball, and he's kind of depends on which ranking you look at. But Yon Duran has pitched at Double-A now, and I think the pandemic year threw a wrench into this because, like, he probably would have just like been up last year if he could pitch in the minor leagues for 3 months. Mm-hmm. Like, that guy needs to be a part of your rotation in 2021 at some point.
Sure.
He probably needs to be in your rotation by like June or July for me.
I will do a hard turn on this team in a bad way, though, if Cruz walks. I think allowing Nelson Cruz to walk from this current roster, as far as what he brings, again, like I told Doogie, on and off the field, is a massive mistake. And I know he's old, and I know that the cliff will eventually come. But there has been no sign that he is on that cliff now. I mean, it's not like he had a bad year. He did not. He has had back-to-back very impressive years. And I will tell you, from the character issue of observing that team itself and saying, if you allow Cruz to walk and now Donaldson becomes probably the predominant voice, that guy is wound as tight as you could possibly be. And Cruz, I think, offset that. And both personality types are fine, but if it's the Donaldson personality type that dominates that club, I don't know that that's a great idea. And so there is no good reason for me for Falvey not to have gone to Pohlad and said, you know what, I understand the payroll is coming down. I get it. It's a pandemic. It sucks. The only thing I am begging you that we have to do is bring back Cruz. And look, if Cruz's camp says 2 years, let's say 14 per, I say fine. That's absolutely fine. So if these guys indeed allow Nelson Cruz to become a Padre or God forbid for the Twins' sake, a White Sox, they deserve, I think, a ton of heat because it is a miscalculation. Because again, this team has a chance here. Like, this is a good team. If this was not, I'd say screw it. Who cares? But they are.
Yeah.
And if they basically allow a window to shut because, well, it was too tough to do it, shame on them.
Yeah. Now, if they were to say, I don't think they would be this transparent publicly, but if they were to say, listen, like, totally hear you guys and Nelson Cruz, but like, we just have some medical information that his that wrist and that hand injury, we just don't feel like he's going to be able to play anywhere near 162 games. And for what he's asking, like if they said for a few reasons, we're going to move off him, but don't worry, Kyle Schwarber's coming to town, or Carlos Santana, the walks machine, Carlos Santana is coming to town. If they had an identified plan B to fill that offensive void,
yep,
I could listen to it. But it kind of feels like, the more that some of these names come off the board, and there's still a bunch on the board, it kind of feels like they're just waiting and twisting in the wind. And if Nelson Cruz decides he's going to go sign somewhere else, then like they're screwed, or it's Brent Rooker time. And I like Brent Rooker, but he ain't going to be Nelson Cruz behind the scenes or on the field in 2021. And so if this team decides that 2021 is a transition year, then essentially they're also throwing away the Josh Donaldson era, because the longer you go without competing at the top level, the older he gets and the more injury prone he gets. And he's already injury prone.
Those caps are barking right now, my man.
Your window is now.
Yeah.
And this is no time to reset in 2021, because the White Sox aren't going away and the Yankees aren't going away.
Yep.
And there's a couple other teams that are bubbling up, and the Rays aren't going away. So I just don't understand why you would take a step back in 2021. I understand the financial ramifications. We're not even asking them to spend $140 million, like you said.
Oh,
but you can't go into the season and be like, well, Jay Happ, and we added that Robles guy to our bullpen.
Yeah, what's his first name again?
Hansel Robles, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Let's get
10+ ERA, but it was a pandemic shortened season. Damn it.
Yeah,
anyway.
that ain't gonna fly.
Phil Mackey.
If you hate Phil, I'm fine with that. If Phil's a first-class jerk, if he's an ass, and that's how you feel about it, that's fine.
Judd Zulgad.
Has he become that crusty? I think he's always been.
Mackey and Judd.